Do zombies have eyebrows?
I guess it would look old and musty, like their hair. I mean, that's going to be the one thing that's kind of jarring with my makeup. I thought about having one set of hair, or one side completely unbraided and making it look disheveled.
Yeah. Because if I were a zombie, I would have the best brows. Hello, you guys, and welcome back to another Books and Looks. It has been a while. I got sick. I left the country. I got sick again. So, but we're back now, and I'm back with an apron today because we're going to do something a little bit fun. We're going to do some special effects makeup on Lesley, and it's been a while since I've done special effects makeup, so I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go. But we're mainly here for Lesley to talk about a book. So go ahead and tell us what you will be reviewing for us today, and I'm going to make a mess.
So ever since I found out that Kathy was going to be doing Books and Looks, I mean, yes, I wanted to let her try like a signature look for me, but I've been dying to have her try zombie special effects. So for multiple reasons. A, I just think it's hilarious, and B, zombie stories in general are kind of like my chicken soup when I'm feeling down. I enjoy zombie video games, movies, books, you name it. So
I think the last time you were with us on Books and Looks, you did talk about a horror. So you talked about your love for the scares. So yes. I don't think this will be surprising.
No, to anybody.
Surprising to anybody.
Especially because my introduction to the genre was zombies.
Yes.
And most of the time, in the way that zombies are portrayed, I find them funny. I do find it refreshing when I can find one that they're scary in. That one is not the case for this particular book that I'm going to talk about. I did some research because I wanted to at least review a book that was new to me for the show, rather than something that is tried and true that I recommend to a lot of people. So I found this one. It's The Reapers Are the Angels, and it shows up on a whole bunch of people's like top 10 zombie book lists. So I was like, it has to at least be worth trying. Interestingly enough, it follows a 15-year-old girl named Temple.
Okay.
And she is living on her own. It is set 25 years after the zombie apocalypse. So one thing that kind of makes this a little different is the zombies are more a part of the landscape than they are like, you don't see that build up where there's this threat of a pandemic happening.
Right, because they're
already
25 years in.
Because they now are a thing.
Yeah.
And even the way that Temple deals with them, because she's only ever known a life with zombies, is kind of almost like you would treat a dangerous, large, bitey cockroach. I mean, it's just very dispassionate in how she dispatches them and stuff. So they don't ever feel as threatening as, you know, like the 28 Days Later zombies and stuff that move quickly. These are like your typical shambling.
She knows how to handle it.
And it's very matter of fact. If she kills a human, she does something to make sure that they don't come back as a zombie. There's that. You get the impression from her that she's running from more than just zombies. She's also trying to escape some bad memories, and you get snippets of that as she continues her journey. So an interesting aspect of this particular book is she has this weird, vague spirituality that kind of guides her into looking for beautiful things, almost as a way to escape the day-to-day necessity of surviving.
Or to just cope.
Yeah, or as a way to cope. So she kind of lets that guide her in this meandering path across the southern United States. So the book starts in Florida and ends up in Texas.
Oh, okay.
So interestingly, a lot of people that read the book were like, hey, I've been to these places. So it was kind of neat seeing what it would look like in an apocalypse. So
how does Texas look in an apocalypse?
Well, interestingly, I did notice that the author was talking about desert where there is not desert. Nacogdoches is not desert.
No.
But
incorrect.
But Houston did not seem like it fared all that well. So alas.
For your zombie look, I'm going to try to go for kind of like a, you know, you've just been in an attack type look. So I think that's what I hope our end result to look like. It might just look like garbage, but I mean,
but
zombies do kind of look like garbage. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm not too worried about what the end result will look like, because if it's terrible, then it's perfect.
So what do you think are some key differences between doing like special effects makeup versus actual
special effects makeup and regular makeup? The steps are like it depends on what kind of look you're going for. If you just want for it to look like really bloody, then you focus more on just being like incredibly messy, which I feel like is what I liked about doing like special effects makeup, because I get to do this. Like I'm just literally sticking tissue paper.
I'm guessing this is going to be skin.
On your face, yeah. So for you, why are zombies a thing aside from like, I feel every other scary creature?
It's a couple of things. So it was my introduction to horror in general. Night of the Living Dead was my very first horror movie ever.
Oh.
And that scene where the little girl attacks her parents still haunts me to this day. I had so many bad dreams afterward. But I kind of like it, especially nowadays. I realized I hadn't read a zombie book since the pandemic happened. And all during 2020, I felt like it was the perfect setup for the beginning of a real life zombie event to happen. So it was kind of fun going back through and reading something, especially where, in this case, the zombies were old news. But I think the other thing I like about zombies in general is they kind of lend themselves well to either true horror, where you're experiencing losing a loved one or seeing somebody that you loved once turn into something that you can't recognize.
Yeah.
That's an interesting theme to explore. They also make for great comedic value. Shaun of the Dead is one of my all-time favorite movies.
So going back to the book, was this a read that you enjoyed?
I had very mixed feelings. Like it was very much a book that it was about the journey. Like I took a bunch of notes because I had very strong feelings about it. But I even described it as zombie tourism because she doesn't really have a set objective in mind. She's just kind of going wherever she feels led. She makes a lot of stops at different pockets of civilization, you know, where there are some survivors that are holed up together for one reason or another. So on that aspect, that was kind of neat because you're looking at how different groups of people would cope in circumstances like that. The part that I found kind of the main part that I found frustrating, that I'm not going to spoil here, was the ending. I was forewarned because I did peek on Goodreads and I avoided spoilers, but so many people said that the ending was unsatisfying.
Okay.
And I completely agree with that. It felt like it wasn't, like, I don't need a happy ending per se. It just needs to feel right for the characters and the tone of the story up until that point.
Okay.
And in this particular case, it really felt like it was a disservice to the reader by the time you get to the end. Other criticisms that I saw as I was reading through different reviews were the author decided to take kind of an experimental style with this, so he doesn't use quotation marks at all.
Oh.
Which made it difficult for some people to follow the dialogue. I didn't really mind that part. It didn't bother me or distract me. One thing that a lot of people complained about that, once again, I just kind of ignored because I felt like ignoring it, was this is 25 years post-civilization collapse. Yeah. But you still have a lot of areas that had working electricity. Or vehicles that had gas in them that you know was 25 years old, but still magically it worked okay? Yeah. You know, you might expect that to happen some, but not at the extent it happened in the book. Yeah. Well, one part that did bother me a little bit that I think was a very fair criticism is the main character, Temple, is illiterate. Like, so, and it comes across a little bit in her dialogue, and that works, but then you spend all of this time in her head where she's describing, like, her feelings or the setting or things like that, and it's very purple prose, which feels extremely jarring when you've got, you know, a 15-year-old who supposedly can't read. Yeah.
Not only is she 15, but she can't read. Yes.
So that part was a little bit strange to me. But yeah, to give you a little bit better idea about the story itself, she is kind of drifting along following major highway routes. And the first pocket of civilization...
She drives.
She does drive. So, okay. It's revealed early on that she's kind of escaping bad memories. She was taken in as a kid by a survivor who taught her to drive and kind of take care of herself and her younger brother, who may not actually be related to her, but either way. Something happens to their caretaker, he gets bitten, so she ends up having to take care of her younger brother. Okay. And that goes sideways. So anyway, she does at least know how to take care of herself. She has I can't even remember what the name of it is, a very specific fancy kind of knife that she uses to dispatch most of the zombies that she encounters. And the first corner of civilization that she encounters is somewhere in Florida. Pause.
Sorry that I just cut you off. It's
And
just
cut me literally?
Yeah, and cut you literally. I just had to concentrate on that part.
No, that's fair. I felt like I
Right
shouldn't
there.
talk while you had scissors by my cheek either.
Yeah, so you were saying about Florida.
Yes. So somewhere in Florida is where she kind of encounters her first little pocket of civilization.
Uh-huh.
And it's a group that is kind of rebuilding their own sense of society in 4 interconnected like towers.
Okay.
So everybody has a role, you know, whether it's they're teaching the children that belong to this commune, I don't know really how to describe it, or, you know, the men tend to get recruited into kind of like a small amateur militia that goes out scouting for supplies and trying to cull the zombie horde so that they don't get, you know, overrun at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, it seems pretty nice. Temple feels like she kind of wants to make this be her new home, except unfortunately she attracts the attention of the village creeper,
Oh,
who is a human and not a zombie. But he attempts to assault her during one of her first evenings there, and she has to defend herself and kills him in the process. Which wouldn't really be that big of a deal, except that he has an older brother who decides that he needs to kill her to kind of even the score. So he becomes this obsessive stalker.
So he's the enemy.
Yes, yeah. And you know, that is a classic trope that I enjoy in zombie stories when the people are really the monsters and the zombies are
Just there.
just there.
Yeah.
The other central character that she picks up along the way is a large man who is nonverbal. She
Okay.
rescues him from a horde of zombies that are about to get him. He's carrying the corpse of his grandmother. So she helps him bury his grandmother and then just kind of takes him in as her charge. And you get the sense that she's doing this kind of as like this misplaced sense of responsibility since she lost her younger brother.
Yeah.
It's almost like he is the surrogate for those feelings.
After reading this, I know you said it wasn't your favorite. Do you think that you would want to read anything by him again?
Not by him. I think I would be more open to trying something by somebody else. I have wanted to revisit Jonathan Mayberry, who wrote one of my all-time favorite zombie books from our teen collection. I kind of wanted to try some of his adult books because I've heard they're also very good.
And in terms of like zombie reads, who would you say is your favorite?
Definitely, I loved The Rotten Ruin by Jonathan Mayberry. And like I said, it's from our teen collection, so you would expect it to not hit very hard. But it follows the relationship of 2 brothers, and the way their relationship is handled is really cool. If you're staying in the teen collection, The Enemy is also really fun. That one was hilarious because I got to see the author speak about it, and the body
In
count.
person?
Yes, the body count is very high in that book. For a teen book, it's kind of shocking. But apparently he would read chapters to his sons to kind of preview it and see what they thought. And basically they would just be like, we don't like that character, kill him. And eventually
And
he
he
was
would.
like, yes, and he would do it. But eventually he was like, okay, we have to have some people survive.
Yeah.
But because of that, you actually really don't know who's going to make it out by the end of the book. And then from the adult collection, because I have to recommend at least a few of those, I highly recommend The Girl with All the Gifts. I really liked the scientific concept behind what caused the outbreak. It was a different approach to it just being a virus, but I don't really want to say more in case people haven't read it yet, because that one's worth experiencing. Oh, another one that's kind of a perennial favorite here among other librarians, so I decided not to review it just because I've heard too much about it, is Feed by Mira Grant. That one comes up a lot. But I like to be different, and at least try to do something a little off the beaten path. And I kind of regret, like I told Sam my mixed feelings about this particular one, and he was like, you should have read Handling the Dead.
I still think we need one last touch because
I was just teasing.
you can't be touched by Kathy without leaving here with some good lashes. So give me 1 second. I just want to see what this would look like. Open. This is how I wake up every day. I look dead. And then just pop on some lashes, honey.
Yes.
And you're brand new. Open for me, dear. Oh.
Beautiful.
What?
Perfect.
See? Now tell me that this look not go from looking dead and grimy to a look. Well, Lesley, thank you for bringing The Reapers Are the Angels by Alden Bell. This book is available at our library for checkout. And also, thank you for letting us just mess around and go crazy on your face and make you look absolutely terrifying. I had a lot of fun, and yeah, thank you for joining us.
I did too.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.